A financial lesson. Roth IRA versus traditional IRA versus 401k. What's the difference? What we're gonna be talking about today might make you dizzy. So, get your food and water now and prepare yourself. You might have seen these terms but don't know their meanings, or you get intrigued but you can't really understand it. Well, today I've simplified it for you. But before we start, subscribe to the channel. This is Finance Boss, an awesome channel for awesome people like you. Roth IRA, Traditional IRA, 401k. These are the terms that I was telling you. To know this, just continue watching and make sure to really listen and watch carefully. As I've told you, I've simplified it for you. I'm gonna be putting their differences, pros and cons, and at the end of the video, you'll be able to understand all these. So, let's start. All three of these accounts are designed to help you save for retirement. That means they come with restrictions on when you can withdraw the money. So, typically, you have to wait until you're 59 to start spending it. But they also come with amazing tax benefits. If you don't take advantage of the huge tax breaks you get from having these accounts, you're leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Back in the day, the traditional IRA was the only type of IRA, hence the name traditional. So, if you contribute $6,000 to your traditional IRA, which is the maximum allowed contribution in 2019, then you reduce your taxable income by $6,000. That's huge! That's 30 to 40% taxes on $6,000 that you don't have to pay. You know how you get a tax break when you donate to charity? It's just like that, except that the money is going to yourself rather than to charity. So, if you put away $6,000 into a traditional IRA every year, the tax savings are really gonna add up. That's one benefit, but it doesn't end there. The investments in your traditional IRA also get to grow tax-free. Outside of a retirement account, you typically have to pay capital gain taxes when your stock investments increase in value. Given that 94% of your retirement nest egg will come from stock market growth, investing inside a traditional IRA is gonna save you so much money in taxes. First, when the money goes in, saving you income taxes, and secondly, when the money is growing and you don't have to pay capital gains taxes. When you turn 59, you can start withdrawing money from it, but now those withdrawals actually will be taxable. So, a traditional IRA lets you make tax-free contributions on the front end, but you don't get to take tax-free withdrawals on the back end. Now, let's talk about Roth IRAs. The only difference between a Roth IRA and a traditional IRA is in the timing of the tax benefits. Remember how with traditional IRAs, your contributions result in an immediate tax break that year? In a Roth IRA, you don't get that. That's because contributions to a Roth are after tax. So here's the good part with Roth IRAs. When you turn 59, you can start withdrawing money and it's 100% tax-free. Yes, tax-free retirement income for the rest of your life. Can I get a hell yes? Traditional IRAs give you a tax break upfront and no tax break in retirement. And Roth IRAs, instead of giving you the tax break upfront, you get a permanent tax break in retirement. So you can get a tax break now or in the future, but not both. An easy way to think about it is that traditional IRAs gives you immediate gratification in the form of tax benefits today, while contributions to a Roth are a form of delayed gratification because you have to wait until retirement to enjoy the tax benefits. So, now that you know the difference between traditional and Roth IRA, how do you even decide which? First of all, if you're single and you make over $122,000, a Roth is not even an option for you. This also applies if you're married and together you make over $193. Unlike traditionals, Roth IRAs have income qualification limits. That's because they're so awesome. So obviously, if you're over the income limit, this is an easy decision for you because you'll just have to go with the traditional IRA. You can even have both, as long as you keep your total contributions to no more than $6,000. Personally, I prefer Roth IRAs by a long shot, and I really think younger people, millennials like me, should really consider Roth over traditional. I don't know anyone who enjoys paying taxes. If you do, then you're weird. And I love that with a Roth. I can just pay taxes once and never pay taxes on it again. The judgment call you have to make for yourself is whether you think your tax rate will be lower or higher in the future. If it's going to be higher, then it's better to just pay the taxes now with a Roth and never have to pay taxes later. If your tax rate is going to be lower when you retire, then it's better to pay the taxes later in retirement with a traditional IRA. And if your tax rate stays the same, then it doesn't make a difference whether you go with the traditional or the Roth. But think about it, it's much more likely that tax rates will be higher in the future, not lower. The US government is currently $22 trillion in debt, and politicians keep introducing tax cuts in order to get elected. So they're just kicking the can down the road, and one day, we're all going to have to pay for it in the form of higher taxes. So, if you're on the fence, I say go with the Roth IRA, because even if taxes go up to 50, 60, 70%, you'll have the security of a tax-free retirement. Now, let's talk about 401ks. A 401k is just a retirement plan that behaves just like the traditional IRA, except that it's sponsored by your employer. The best part about 401ks is the employer's match. Most companies offer to match your 401k contributions dollar for dollar. It might also just be 50 cents for every dollar you put in, or even better. At my first job, the employer match was 3 for 1, so they gave $3 for every $1 that I contributed. I know, it was pretty amazing, and it's literally the main reason why I have a good-sized investment portfolio for someone my age. I mean, an employer 401k match is free money, so if your job offers it, you should always max that out. Period. Never say no to free money. So what's the difference between 401ks and traditional IRAs? Other than that, they're sponsored through your employer. Also, the contribution limits are much higher. As of 2019, you can contribute up to $19,000 per year. And if combined with employer match, you can contribute up to a total of $56,000 per year. This means you can put a shitload of pre-tax money away for retirement. 401k plans are generally pretty limited in their investment options, whereas IRAs gives you a lot more flexibility. You can't really pick your own stocks in a 401k, and you'll probably only have a handful of index funds that you're allowed to choose from. But with an IRA, you can invest in whatever stocks and bonds you want. You can buy and sell options, and you can even invest in real estate. So really anything is a game with an IRA. In general, the ideal combination is to have a 401k and a Roth IRA. You can and should have both. You can have a 401k and a traditional IRA. You can have a 401k and a Roth IRA, and you can even have all three, as long as you stay within the contribution limits. So, did you get it? If you did, high five! And also, click that red shining subscribe button. Now, you can enjoy and take notes on how you can handle these three or whichever you want to do. Again, this is Finance Boss. Adios!